Hey, this is Prak with RPMD, and today we have a DJI Mini 3 where the arm is broken off, and I guess the customer attempted to solder plastic back on. I highly don't recommend that. It's not stable, plus it actually will affect the flight characteristic of the drone. Matter of fact, it might even cause the drone to crash. And also we have the camera lid fell right off during the crash. Other than that, let's see if the drone gimbal still works. Power on the drone. If the gimbal stabilize. Okay, so and the gimbal does stabilize. So this is only a arm and camera lens replacement. So stay tuned. First thing we do is power off the drone. Okay. Then we're gonna pull the battery out. Then we'll do a repair with the battery still inside the drone for many reasons. Okay, so for this repair, we will need a new replacement camera lens cover for the gimbal, the two set, and we will also need a new front arm. Let's go ahead and proceed with the repair. So what we need to do now, this is a tricky repair, arm replacement, because we need to actually open up the drone, and then we're gonna have to take out the pivot arm. But first thing we do is we're gonna open the drone up. And what we'll need for this is the T4 screw. We're gonna work away from the bottom. You know, actually from the top, we're gonna take the top and the bottom of the drone apart. All right, so using a T4 screw. Looking for T4, T5, T4. Okay, this is the T4. Let's go ahead. T4 screw. Just take the lid off. And with this kind of repair, you definitely want a place where you can put all the screws. So I'll go ahead and put the screw right here. My lid. Okay. Sometimes you just need to just tap, get the screw off. Then we're gonna go ahead and remove the top. This is a regular Phillip. So switch over to a small Phillip. Okay. And again, this is a pretty hands-on repair. Doing this repair might take up to an hour to two, depending on your level of experience with fixing a drone. If you have a hard time doing repair or you don't want to try it, you can always send it to us. We can take care of the repair for you. All right, so let's go ahead and tap. Get the other screw out. There's one more still stuck in here. Let's go ahead. We want to make sure we take all the screws out before we open up the shell. We can go ahead and take the side flaps off. Okay, I'm looking through here. Okay, so now let's go. Once we lift this off, we'll go ahead. Okay, let's put this away, close the lid for now. And now let's go ahead and open up the drone. Okay, I always like to start from the back. And this is a clamshell of the drone. So we're gonna go close the leg for now until we actually get the rest off. pull the clamshell carefully. This is ultra thin, very thin. Okay, and I'm lifting up very slowly. Do not want to damage any of the shell. DJI makes it ultra thin for lightweight, but at the same time, this lightweight measure. Okay, we have one more screw I forgot to take off right here in the bottom. Almost forgot that one. So that's why you carefully pull, because you never know if you need, if there's any kind of resistance. Do not keep on, don't use force. All you have to do is locate where the resistance is, and most likely there's a screw corresponding to the resistance. So this is not a frequent drone that I repair. Sometimes there are screws that I'm not aware of. Okay, so now I'm using a T4 for this two here, and that is underneath the nose, right with the gimbal. On top of the gimbal, there are two screws right there. T4 screws. Okay. Now let's go ahead. Should be able to tap it out. Okay, this, if it doesn't tap out, it means that there's still something that needs to be taken off. Turn a little bit more. Okay, I'm turning the other side. Trying to give you guys the best view, but again, it might be hard to see. But there are two screws. Okay, if I can show you, if I can adjust the camera, you might be able to, well, you can see it from the camera right there. Just one here and one here. I'm giving you a bird's eye view because it is the best angle that I can see. All right, so now this screw come off. That's the top shell, and you can see this is the two screw right here. The two screw is still in there, which is not a problem for me as long as it doesn't fall out, because might as well keep it as a placeholder. Okay, and so now let's go ahead, unfold the drone again. Let's put this out of play. Okay. Now, the tricky thing with these particular screw, these drone, is the actual flight control or the IMU board is right here. So we actually would have to remove it from the system to solder, okay? So let's go ahead and open the belly of the drone. So again, this is another one where we just have to carefully open up. Again, it's ultra thin, and if you have a hard time, the best way to approach this is to use a pry tool. Plastic pry tool sometimes does not work, so I'm using this metal pry tool here. And I'm gonna lift it slowly. Okay. Carefully. Now that I got that, I'm gonna, once I'm able to release that part, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the snap open carefully. You don't wanna separate. This is ultra thin. Okay. Again, we're feeling for any kind of resistance. There shouldn't be any in this case. Okay. Put that out of play. Now we have the top and the bottom of the drone completely exposed now. Got the bottom belly, cup exposed, and the top. And what we're trying to get to is this arm right here. You have the wires, okay? You have the power wires, the motor wire, and also you have the antenna wires that also rest. And the control board is located here. So what we need to do now is lift the board up so we can solder. And so there are 4 small Phillips screws that we would need to take out in order to access it. So we're gonna go ahead and take these 5 screws right here, the 4 screws. All right, so got one here. Open up my case again. This time I'm gonna use a tweezer to pull out the screws. I don't want to lose it. Okay, that's one. I'm gonna go to the other side and take the other one out. I hope you guys have a good view. I put the camera straight on top, hoping that my hand will not block the view, but again, it's really tough when your lens is right on top, right on top of my hand. All right, let's go ahead and get these 4 out. Then we should be able to lift the body of this. Okay. Should be able to lift this up. That should expose. Okay, so we might, well, there is a connector right here. Let's go ahead and take the connector off. Okay, this is a press-on connector using hot glue to actually hold it in place. We're gonna go ahead, release the connector so we take this board out of the way. And this is the obstacle visual system. Allows the camera, the drone to see what's below. Obstacle avoidance. Now we're exposing the actual board we have to replace. So this is the bad board, and this is what we have to resolder. So what we need to do is actually unscrew. There are 3 screws here. One. Okay, you got 1, 2, 3. This is also Phillips. Extend the arm on this. We're gonna use these 3 screws, and then we're gonna lift. Once we unscrew it. Okay, this just has a magnetic tip, so sometimes it's helpful, but some of the screws DJI use are not magnetic. Some of them are aluminum, which easily is soft, it can break off, and the magnetic screw won't work. But again, this is helpful, especially when you have screws located in the area where it's almost impossible to use the tweezer to pull out. And also, if it does come off inside the drone, it's kind of hard to take off. It will jostle inside the drone, and you'll have a dangerous screw that could potentially move around and touch a live circuit board, causing a short. So we definitely want to make sure that the screws are addressed. All right, so I'm pulling this board up a little bit. Okay, all I really want is to be able to angle it and lift the board to a point. Okay, to a point where I can actually conduct the repair. Okay, so there is a lot of leeway that the arm has right here. All I want is just replace this arm with this board here. Okay, so you notice we can actually, there's plenty of room for this board to actually go the other route. So what we need to do is disengage the lights. These are the lights on the drone. Let's go ahead and pull out. This is a pin connector, a push connector. So let's go ahead and lift this up using a tweezer carefully. Making sure you know that white, see, make sure the orientation is correct. You got white on the outside, black on the inside. White on the out, black on the in. Remember that? Okay, so now we have enough leeway where we will pull this up, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I have to do. We're gonna pull this out of the way so we don't damage the connector. But we also will push this more. We will need to solder. We need to solder. We have to unsolder first the red, black, and white cable, okay? Okay, I'm heating that up. What we want to do is go ahead and, in the process, just go ahead and take out the bad arm, okay? And let's bring in the good arm. This is the good arm. You see right here, okay? The bad arm, the good arm, as you can see, you have the cable, you have the power cable, and you have the antenna, okay? What we need to do is replace it. So let's go ahead. Now we're going to use the T4 screw here to go ahead and take out the pivot joint. Okay. This is sometimes a little tricky. Okay. I'm gonna use a sharper here. Now we're gonna turn this over on the other side. Another T4. Okay. All right. There we go. Let's go ahead and pull the arm out. Should be able to just slide it out right here. Okay. And you notice the arm do also come with the light cable right here. So we need to pull all this out. Carefully pulling it out. Okay. Let's go ahead. And we'll go ahead and disconnect. We're gonna use a plier, a clipper, to go ahead and cut this off. Then we will expose the plastic heat coating so we can solder. So we take the white on top, take the white out, then black, okay? And then the bottom is the red cable. Take that off also. Okay. Now we got that off. Let's go ahead and work our way. Pull all this cable out. And you notice we also have to do the antenna cable right here. So we have to trace the antenna cable, the gray antenna cable. The gray antenna cable should be back here. So you can see underneath all this flap is the gray antenna cable. So what we need to do is, I'll show you right here. Gray antenna cable is right here. Okay, right underneath of this piece right here. And what I'm gonna do is go ahead and carefully lift the gray antenna cable. All right, this is the gray antenna cable coming off. And then you have it into this piece right here. We no longer need this, but there is a hot glue element right here where it's holding the gray antenna cable onto the drone. Let's go ahead and carefully pry it. Rip it out actually, because this is not, we no longer need it, but we do need to reuse the piece for holding. Okay, let's go ahead and slide all this off. Okay. Now let's go ahead and pull. Should be able to pull the gray antenna cable out from here. There we go. All right, so now that is out of play. Let's go ahead and put the new arm in. Okay, so we need to carefully slide all this. Let's close this arm out so it's not knocking everything out. So the way this works is we need to slide this in. Let's Put this out of the way. Okay, so here we go. We need to slide this piece in, the gray. First thing we need to do is route. Make sure the antenna cable is already out and where it needs to be on this side, okay? Now, second is this light cable, the light connector. So let's go ahead, push it in. Once we see it, use the other tweezer to pull it. All right. Now let's go ahead and put the power cable in. Okay. Hold on to this carefully. And once you see the power cable, we'll pull the power cable through here, which is the white, black, and red cable. Red cable is still on the outside of this. Let's go ahead. There you go. All three of the white, black, and red cable. Got red. Got black. Got a black cable somewhere here. Okay, white and black are out together. Okay. Okay, so once we have this, what we want to do is pull it completely out. And now let's go ahead and secure arm back in. So let's go ahead and close this one and slide this in. Okay, we're gonna replace the torque screw now. Okay, T-screw, T4, and the arm. Okay, let's put the arm back in using a T4. Okay, now turn it over. T4 again. All right. Putting it in. The key to doing a successful repair is to be extremely cautious with everything you do, making sure that if there's any kind of resistance, it might be because there's something holding it down and you don't want to use force. Okay? So now that we have this, let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and tin the tip of this, of the wire, so I can reconnect. So I will be using a 10. Okay, and I'm not the best solder person. I have to let you know ahead of time. So, however, I am open to tips of those pros, those you guys who are good. But what I'm trying to do is build a bead, okay? This bead of solder will allow, one thing is all the fray wires will be connected together. Second is once we make contact point, it's a lot better just to activate the bead than the individual strand. So the bead will allow for better. All right, so now let's do this. Let's keep it more, make it more practical. I'm gonna use actually a razor blade right here. And then I will do what I should have done from the beginning, is activate the sheet using the bead right here. So we want to create beads on the tip of this, okay? Just to get it to clump together. All right, so we have this bead here, and let's check the black cable out. All right, now let's go ahead and put a little, some solder on the tip of this. Need to get the heat going on this. Okay. Yep, there we go. There we go. Got bead there. bead here, maybe a little more on the white. A little more bead on the white area. All right. Let's go ahead and expose the area that we need. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead. Let's take care of the antenna wires. This is a flap. Let's go ahead and take this out of the way. I don't want to break it yet. So, okay, this has a little adhesive here, and this is the coolant. This is the GPS unit, and this is the coolant channel flap. It's made of thin plastic. And now we're gonna go ahead and run the antenna cable through and around, same path that we took the original from, okay? Here we go. Now we're going to carefully set this back into place. I want to give you guys a better view. Let's go ahead and lift this off for now, okay? So there's 2 screws holding it. We're going to use a Phillip, 2 Phillips here, small Phillip. Like, I don't want too much tension, like I said earlier. So I definitely benefit from showing you how this tiny antenna cable can be a problem for some people, but without it, you won't be able to properly fly the drone at a longer distance that you need. Without the antenna cable, you might be looking at about maybe 10 or 20 feet before you lose range. So you definitely need the proper install of this, and both legs of the drone have the antenna cable. It's a thin gray antenna cable. Okay, I'm going to lift this up real quick, carefully. Okay, this, I'll pull this out of the way. Okay, so now we have this one flap, and this is a piece right here, and this is the other antenna cable, and this is the antenna cable that we will be replacing. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure that it's facing the right direction. Okay. Then you want to rest. Do not force it in. Just make sure it rests perfectly on. Should feel a little snap. Just a little bit. There you go. Felt a little click. And now we want to do, what we want to do is do a little hot glue gun here. And I have a glue. This is actually a PETG filament from my 3D printer, which once touched this hot iron will actually heat really well. If you don't have that, you can obviously use the glue gun. Trying to heat this up. You want to hold it into place. I like PETG filament because actually I won't use it. I'll use a glue gun. Here you go. I will use a different type of filament. This is a TPU filament. Don't want to overuse the glue. Just want enough to hold this into place. Okay. I also want to use it here where the original cable was, opening up the channel where it was resting. right here. Let's go ahead and run it here. Again, we're gonna put the PETG, correct TPU, melted TPU on here. I will be doing a channel on 3D printing. I've been 3D printing for the past 10 years, and actually probably 11 years. I've known a lot of tricks on how to properly get the most out of 3D printer, how to adhere parts and make the strongest prototype possible. And I will share all that in the coming weeks, if not, well, months, if not weeks. All right, let's go ahead and put this back into place. Okay, the snap is in. Okay, this will secure it. So we need to make sure this rests underneath this piece right here. And this is the gimbal connection, or the gimbal secure. Go ahead and put the screws back in to place. All right. Even when putting in the screw, you don't want to use force. Everything on this drone require minimum force to do what you need to achieve, okay? So if there's any kind of force needed, it means something is obstructing your ability to do the repair. And most likely, if you add some more force to it, probably will break the drone. So again, think about that part. All right, let's go ahead and turn it over, and then we will proceed to the solder part. Okay, so now that we have the antenna in place, we will need to expose these cables here. Okay, so you guys, I'm gonna try to give you guys the best view. So what they did right here, what DJI did, is actually use resin. They actually use resin for this, so you can't melt it. So carefully, you have to use a pry tool to take the UV cure resin to expose the connection, so we can solder back onto the power cable. So now I'm carefully using a scalpel to nudge and pry the resin off the board. Okay, I got the white and the black done. Now I need to work on the red one. Okay, need to expose the red right underneath of this. Very tricky. The previous one I did not use resin. They use hot glue, but this one they use UV resin. Maybe they know that the workaround theirs. So now they make it harder for us to actually do the soldering or the resoldering by using resin. We have to manually scrape off. Yeah, DJI has making this drone a lot harder to repair. Every iteration gets harder. But with that said, they do still use people to assemble them. So if people can put them together, people can take them apart. People can also repair them till they start whole 100% 3D printing these things. We should be still able to do repair. It just becomes more challenging with every new model. All right, so now I'm exposing the red
right here, resin. Okay, got the red resin out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use 99.9% alcohol to clean the area. So we can prep the contact. Making sure there's no possible short circuit also. Right, got a little more resin to flake off. Right here, supposed more of the red connector. DJI, you are definitely almost building a better mousetrap here. Resin is a pain, but we just have to be very careful in the repair. If anybody has a better way to take resin off, please comment below, because this is tedious. All right, so now I got that off. I'm gonna start soldering, but first I'm gonna go ahead and tin the red part right here. The red connector. All right. I'm gonna work my way down. I'm gonna work from red, black, and white. Okay. Red is down there. Let's go ahead, use my tweezer to solder the red back on. Let's go ahead, and first thing we're gonna do is use the red. All right, so this is my Achilles heel. I'm not the best solderer, like I said many times, but try my best. This requires micro soldering. All right, so red is in. That's awesome, because that was the most difficult. Reposition the red down. Okay, now we have the black. Okay, have the black one to do. Black cable, black tip. I do love to repair them drones. So again, if you crash yours and you need help, you can't do it yourself, just click on the link below, and it'll get you to our website. And then you can submit the contact area. carefully melting the solder. There we go. Black is in. Now white. Hold it in place. And go ahead, expose the white to the white. And that. Making sure the black is not connected. There we go. All right. Yeah, I did a little scoring here. That might be a little hard to pull out. No, just a little bit. So let's go ahead and open this up because it's going to be hard to clamp if I don't take care of it. Recorrect what I just did. Unless it won't snap on properly. There we go. Clamp back. Cut a little bit off. All right, plastic's ready. Okay, so now I'm gonna re-examine to make sure none of the lines are crossing, because if the line cross, it will short each other. So I'm examining carefully that none of the power cable have crossing wires, which they do not. And also examining the quality of solder, which is decent for someone like me who can't solder. Then let's go ahead and put hot glue on top of that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is clean the area once we know that the wires are not crossing all the strand. We're gonna clean this area using 99.9% alcohol. These are approved for electronics. And then we're gonna hot glue it instead of UV, because in case we need to do the repair again, hot glue is a lot easier to work with. Okay. So let's go ahead, inject hot glue in the area. Now we're gonna work the hot glue around to secure. This will secure the wires and also insulate the points. In case there's moisture in the air, you won't have any short circuit from the moisture connection. Okay. Now let's let that cure a little bit. Hot glue, easy to work with, a lot easier to work with than what DJI did. All right. So now let's go ahead and set everything back into place, and we're gonna put the screw in. Okay. Okay, now that everything is set into place, let's go ahead and secure the wires where they're supposed to be. Now let's go ahead and put the 3 screws back into here, into the well. Okay. Making sure it's nice and resting properly. All the contacts are good. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and find those black screws and drop it into the well one at a time. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. See the exposed area here? 1, 2, 3. Now use the magnetic tip on the screwdriver. I'm gonna go drop it in. Okay. To make contact and turn the screw in. If it doesn't go right the first time, reapply. And now carefully turn it, don't force it, and then let it secure into place.
Now we got 2 more to go. Okay. There we go. Into place. The last one. Into place. There we go. That's why I like this screwdriver. See, it retracts. So it allows me to get deep and on inside and contract if I need it shorter. Okay. Now let's go ahead and tidy up the cables. First thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and put these light cable back in. And then we'll tighten up the cable. So now the light cable. So again, remember white is on the left side. If you're looking forward. So white's on the left. Let's go ahead and place the white inside. Give you a better view of what I'm doing, hopefully. And now, let's go ahead and set it in. There you go. And this is the landing leg, so the landing light or the leg light, whatever you guys want to call it. It's the LED light on the arm, the drone, or the leg. Okay, now white on the outside. And again, we're gonna go ahead and maneuver this around, have this on this side. Let's go ahead and put the light on. Rest it carefully. Okay, one more time. Black on black is kind of hard to see. All right, I'm gonna switch over using tweezer. Now I can see better. It's too early in the morning to be doing this kind of repair, but customer needs it. If it helps, use a microscope, a magnifying glass. Okay. Rest it in. Go. Recess. Rest it one more time. Get a better grip on this. These things are tiny. There we go, rest it in. Okay. Now let's go ahead and put all the cables where it's supposed to be. You remember when we did this, these additional cables were tucked inside. Cords. All right, so now you can go ahead and tuck it in. Then put the grooves back into place, like we have here. Okay, resting cable. Again with this, same thing. Organize the cable. Tuck all the access cable in. organize it so it doesn't get in the way when we start snapping it back. You want to make sure that none of these cables are actually in front of the screw hole, because puncturing this cable is not what you want to do, especially if you want this flight worthy. Okay, so now I'm tucking this in. Same on this side. I'm making sure that everything is nice and snug. Around the channel, snug here, not blocking any area that could potentially cause a problem. We're good, everything is tucked in. Let's go ahead and put the obstacle avoidance cable back in, connector back in. Okay. These are the obstacle avoidance. Okay, now switch over to a Phillip. All right. Let's go ahead and put this screws in. 4 screws holding it down. All right. There we go. Let's go ahead and snap this into place, back in, and then we're going to use the hot glue to close off the connection like they originally did. Okay. Using a tweezer, spread the hot glue, maybe extra coat some of this area, protecting it from possible moisture damage should it fly in maybe light rain. Okay. Now that we have that done, what I'm actually going to do now is actually test the drone before I put it back into place. So let's go ahead and plug battery in, power on the drone, make sure everything works. Okay. So I'm going to power on the drone, tap. Okay. I'm keeping an eye on the lights. See the lights here working. Very good. The power. Okay. Great. Lights are working. Okay, so the drone stabilized, and let's go ahead and power down the drone. Okay. And let's go ahead and assemble everything back together. That's what we need to do now. Better view is to put this heat channel back in. Okay. See, channels are right here, and this is supposed to channel all the heat from one area to the next. It's right over the port here. And now let's go ahead and snap in the top of the drone, straight in. Okay. All right. Actually, let's look at this again one more time. I don't like how this heat tape is working. I'm gonna go ahead and actually apply my own tape. I'll be using Kapton tape in this case. This is a electronic tape. I'm gonna go take a few pieces from the Kapton not taking too much. And I'm going to tape it in to hold it in place. Okay. Actually, you know what? Hot glue might be even working better than the Kapton. Okay, so what we want is this area right here. We're going to hot glue it just to fold. This tip right here, I'll put hot glue here, and that's where the tip is going to hold into place. Okay, and then the other side, also going to hot glue. Just enough to get it to attach. That's all we really want, to hold it steady and attach in place. There we go. Okay, now that we have that done, let's go ahead and put the vent cover on, put the drone cover back on. And again, be very careful when snapping. Making sure everything has meat and snap in. There we go. Okay. Now at the bottom, just take all the fat salt out of the way. Now it's going to put the bottom belly replacement. Let's pull the battery out. At the bottom, placement in. Go ahead and rest it carefully. We'll rest it this way. This is where it starts off. Okay. And there we go. And you see this area here, the gimbal cover this needs to go underneath the gimbal flap cover. And there we go. Snap everything back into place. This is exposed on the outside, so we need to fix that. Nudge right here. And pushing it in. Pushing this inward to go underneath. Very tricky. Okay. Inside flap the drone, come on, go in. There we go. That's going in. All the snaps are in place. Here we go. This is on the outside and inside. Okay. Now we go ahead and put the screw back into place here. And these use these the torque screw. Okay. T4. We hold this in. Other T4. Snaps into here. Okay. Turn it over. Okay. Now what we need to do is go ahead then use the Phillip to snap this into place. Two Phillips here. All right. And then up here, okay, so let's go ahead and do the T4 on the top, on top of the gimbal slot. That came off. All right. There we go. This is the one on top of the gimbal. Very tricky. Okay, I'm gonna have to use the tweezer to get underneath here, hold it into place so I can use the torque screw. Alright. Alright, so now this is the trickiest screw, just my opinion. Because it's supposed to stay in place, but it came off during the repair. Okay. Drop it right in. And then guide it into place. Very tricky. All right, let's see if I can give you a better view of what I'm trying to accomplish here. Close this out. Okay, close all this arm so you can see what I'm trying to do. Let's go ahead and get this torque in here underneath the gimbal. All right, I got that in. Now let's go ahead and tighten it. There we go. That's tightened. Now the other one. Same thing. Always tricky. You definitely need little tiny hands to do this job. I have a fat thumb. Ooh. All right, I think I almost got it in. Reposition. There you go. You know what, guys? Ship it over. If you've never done this kind of repair, it's tricky. All right. Angling it. Here we go. And it's in. This took me, I think, over an hour for the repair. But anyways, let's go ahead and replace the camera piece. So this piece here, fairly easy as far as putting it on. Let me give you guys a decent close-up. Okay, right here. Okay, so now you have this. It snaps right on. So you just line it up like so. What we have here. and then just put it on, you know, resting it right here. It locks into place, see, angle and turn, and that's in. Okay, now let's go ahead and examine the prop that we have from the previous one. It looks like they're good, so we're gonna go ahead, take the prop off the bat, the broken arm, and put it onto the new drone. And then this repair will be complete. All right, let's go ahead and take it off. Okay, prop come off fairly easy. Hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I have no idea what my camera position is right now. All right, so anyways, in order for me to do more of these videos, I do need money coming in. The repair is okay, but for me to share this, I really need subscribers, and I'm gonna start doing a Patreon. If you can, just a little bit of, you know, maybe a coffee, buy me a coffee once a month would be great. This will allow me to actually buy the newest drones and newest material, and I plan to do product review, and I do want to expand my channel to 3D printing. So I want to create as much non-BS content as possible, showing you how to repair properly from start to finish a drone. But anyways, let's go ahead and put the battery in. Power on. Zoom out so you can see everything. Power on the drone. Okay. Look at our diagnostic. Okay, so everything is working. As you can see, this is Prac with RPMD, and what you saw was a repair of a DJI Mini 3 arm and camera replacement. So subscribe, stay tuned, and safe repair, safe flying.